What's up, guys? My name is Tavares Sweet Pea Weems, coming at you from Los Angeles, California, at my Black Weem Street studio by way of Atlanta, Georgia. I just wanted to come on here and give my condolences to the family of Nolan Wells, his mother, Christine, his father. Done a great job with your son. I've watched videos on TikTok, Instagram, Reels, YouTube, etc. And I really feel like they raised an upstanding son. He has a good heart, was a peacemaker, never been in trouble. And it's a travesty and a tragedy to lose such a person. So my heart goes out to the family first and foremost. My condolences. I'm an actor from Atlanta, Georgia, moved to LA to pursue my dream as an actor, musician, stuntman, martial artist. And I've been on a lot of different shows, the type of shows with cases like this. Such as the film that's on Lifetime, One Night Stand Murder. I've been on Accident, Suicide, Murder. I've been on The Coroner, Unusual Suspects, Murder Book, Hardcover Mystery, Celebrity Crime Files, etc. So I've been on a lot of different sets that has a lot of details in it that we have to research as actors in order to play the characters. And so with that experience and with that knowledge, I feel like I have solved the case of what happened to Nolan Wells, and it's all subjective. Everything I say is alleged. This is me gathering all the information that I found from watching the news stories, YouTube, podcasts, Google, ChatGPT, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. I put everything together myself, and I just wanted to get on here and give my quick analysis of what I really think happened to Nolan Wells. I would say, first of all, we all go on vacation. We all had good times with our friends growing up as teenagers. Even to this day, as grown-ups, we still go on vacation with a lot of our friends. And that's just normal. Everybody does that. And but one motto we always have when we go on vacation with our friends is that no matter what happens, no matter where we are, where we are, we're always going to stick together. If somebody goes missing, we definitely going to stop everything we do to find that person until we find them. We won't leave until we find them. So I find that is very strange for a group of friends to leave an island with somebody's phone and their car keys and not give them the keys or the phone before they leave, just so they can have access to their phone and be able to reach somebody just in case something happened, an emergency. Even the girl that he was talking to, how is he going to be able to contact her if he's staying back on the island with the girl? So to me, there's a lot of inconsistencies with the story. Even the girl that Nolan was with, she said that Nolan did not want to stay on the island. He wanted to go back, and he did go back to the boat with his friends to return home. So there's a lot of different inconsistencies in the story, and that's one of the red flags that I see first and foremost. Second, there's a couple of theories of what went down on the island, the Horn Island. So one theory is that Nolan was at a party and he noticed one of his friends doing drugs, allegedly, and he records everything. Like his mother said, he records everything on his phone, Snapchat, social media, etc. So why would he not be recording at the parties on 4th of July weekend? I would be doing the same thing. You would be doing the same thing. So it is said that Nolan was recording one of his friends and they were doing drugs. I mean, maybe, I'm not saying Nolan was, and I'm not saying anybody's name, but people could have been high and drunk. We know the toxicology hasn't come back for Nolan Wells, so it's inconclusive. It's undetermined whether he was intoxicated or not on any drugs. We don't know that. But from what I've heard online, from what I suspect to be reliable witnesses, they said that Nolan recorded one of the friends doing drugs, and the friend was enraged that Nolan was doing that, and so there was an altercation with Nolan and a friend over the phone. Another theory was that Nolan's friend, who has a girlfriend, got into an argument with the girlfriend, and somebody that was not in one of the groups saw the argument with Nolan's friend and his girlfriend, and kind of butted in to try to come up and make not a peacemaker, but break it up, so to speak, and kind of scold the guy because he saw that he was having a heated argument with his girlfriend, and he saw that Nolan was with the guy, wanted to retaliate after the altercation with Nolan's friend and the guy who saw the argument between the girlfriend and Nolan's friend. So those are two theories. And I feel like one could be that Nolan got into the altercation with the guy that saw the argument with Nolan's friend and his girlfriend. And later on, they got into some type of altercation, verbally and physically. Um, that's a theory, it's a possibility. But the other, to me, a stronger theory would be that Nolan got into an argument with his friend that he was recording doing drugs. Because to me, that's more of a stronger possibility of that happening versus the second theory. And I feel like number one, let's rule out drowning. Nolan, he couldn't have drowned because number one, uh, when they found Nolan's body, he wasn't bloated at all. So I'm a strong swimmer, been swimming all my life. I almost drowned myself in Brazil. I'm talking about in deep water. So I'm talking about rip tides and rip currents that'll take you to the middle of the ocean type of environment. So, but when I almost drowned, I mean, those currents were killing me. I mean, I'm talking about knocking me down to the bottom of the ocean, the type of currents. I'm strong currents. This is Brazil. So, it's already windy out there in Rio. So those currents are really strong and they will take you under for a while. You'll be gone for a while. You won't be missing for a couple of days. You'll be missing for about 5 or 6 days or 7 days or to a week. So the drowning thing, because the law enforcement said that the currents were strong that weekend, I don't think there's a chance that Nolan drowned. Number one, because I did my research on drownings. If you were alive when you drowned, then they'll definitely find water in your lungs. But we know the autopsy haven't revealed that yet. They're still holding on to that, his throat and his lungs. But if you died before you entered the water, then they wouldn't find any water in your lungs because your airway wouldn't allow the water to enter into your lungs because of the restriction. If he entered the water, I think he was unalive before he hit the water, and somebody purposely put him in the water, and that's why when they found his body wasn't bloated at all. So that is ruled out. There couldn't have been no way that he drowned. Somebody said they could have pushed him off the boat, but that doesn't make sense because if he was pushed off the boat during the daytime, 4:30, 5 o'clock, somebody would have saw that. So there's no way he could have been pushed off the boat and drowned. That just doesn't make those two. That doesn't make sense whatsoever. Being pushed off the boat, number one, and then drowning after that. Who's gonna push somebody off the boat with people on the boat and just let their friends drown in the water right in front of them? So we can just leave that theory out. Um, so the possibility of him being hit in the head before he hit the ground or he hit the water, I feel like that's more of a stronger theory than him just being on the island by himself after talking to a girl and being drunk and just falling into the water and drowning, and his body being taken back to the exact same location that he was docked at, or they dropped them off at in the beginning. That doesn't make sense at all. Somebody had to place his body there. And we can talk about the sea tow call and all that, Coast Guard and all that. That's cool. It's not, I wouldn't say it's irrelevant, but it's not necessarily a fact when it comes to how Nolan died. And once you find out how Nolan died and what the motive was, then you can conclude that all these other things could have mattered. But I think the CTO call and all that stuff was a kind of like a distraction, so to speak. Um, it could have been an alibi just for timeline purposes, you know. And I'm not saying that the people that made the call are guilty of anything. I'm just saying um, if there was a call made during the time that Nolan was unalive, um, then that call that they made could be an excuse just to say, oh, we were sinking at the time that the friend was on the island and he was unalive, if he was unalive by somebody. So if he didn't drown, then and they find out that he was unalive, we can use that as an excuse to say that we were not in the area when he was unalive. So it couldn't have been us. So look, my theory is this. I feel like Nolan got into an argument with a friend that was doing drugs. Him and the friend got into an altercation over the phone because a friend wanted the phone and tried to snatch the phone away from Nolan. Um, I think the argument and the altercation, light altercation. When I mean altercation, I don't mean punches and uppercuts and all that stuff, strangling and strangulation. That could be a part of it, but because they didn't find any bruises on Nolan when they found his body, only on the back of his head, then to me the physical altercation of throwing blows and fists and all that stuff like that is not a part of how I think Nolan was unalive. I think that after um, he was on the island, he wanted to get on the boat. Um, the person that he recorded had the phone with them and his keys as well, and said, "Hey, we're not going to give you this. Um, get on the boat, and we're going to keep your phone and your keys when you get on the boat until we get back home. And we're not going to give them to you until later on." And Nolan was like, "No, I'm not going. I'm not getting on that boat until you give me my phone and my keys. More specifically, give me my phone back. And if I don't get my phone or my keys, I'm not going nowhere." Um, there was a I think Nolan got on the boat. There was a slight altercation, maybe with one or two people. Either somebody grabbed Nolan by the neck, started choking him, and the other person came behind him and hit him in his head, or the strangulation from the front caused Nolan to pass out. He fell back, hit his head either on the pump or on the edge of the boat, and he was unalive at that moment because of the blunt force trauma to the back of the head. And if you do your research on online on Google, you can see that blunt force trauma to the back of the head can definitely kill you. So because they didn't find any blood, there's still DNA that he was on that boat. I mean, they're gonna find DNA on the boat regardless of what the situation is. But if they had cadaver dogs to search out that boat and sniff out that if there was death on that boat, then they could have got cadaver dogs to go and sniff out that boat, but they decided not to do it for some reason. And they decided to keep his throat as well as his lungs. So to me, for them to keep the throat and the lungs for this long tells me that they're covering something up. And the fact that he didn't drown and they didn't find water in his lung, to me, is very telling that they didn't want the public to know that he didn't drown. They want us to believe that it was an accidental drowning. Keeping the throat to me is another telltale sign because, like I said, I feel like Nolan could have been choked, although they didn't find any bruises around his neck. I don't know if they looked or not, but if they did choke Nolan from the front, he could have had some, damage to the inside of his throat and not the outside of his neck. I mean, after two days, the bruises could have went away. You never know. but damage to the inside of his neck, in the throat area, is a possibility. And that's why I say I feel like they kept the throat for that reason. Being that the throat and the lungs were kept with two different autopsies, to me is very suspicious. And they won't be giving that out until they have the trial with the grand jury. So we won't know until the grand jury gets all the information from the autopsies. I believe that he was unalived on the boat due to strangulation and blunt force trauma to the back of the head by somebody else. And that's the reason why they found a red bruising on the back of his head. It couldn't have been from blood draining to the back of his head when he was in the water. That doesn't even make sense. The blood wouldn't have drained to the back of his head and then stayed there, as a quote unquote abrasion or a bruise. That wouldn't even make sense. Um, Either, I mean, you saying that he has a red abrasion in the back of his head, or he drowned, and those two don't even make sense. If his body had any bruising on it for the back of his head, it wouldn't have been from him drowning in the ocean somewhere, and he just get a blood that rushed to the back of his head. If he's floating in the water, that wouldn't even make sense. So I believe that he was unalived on the boat from being strangled and being either falling out accidentally. They didn't know that they were going to unalive him as they choked him. It was just a quick altercation because of Nolan trying to get to his phone. And so once he was strangled, he fell unconscious, fell back, hit his head either on the bilge pump or hit his head on the edge of the boat. And they kept Nolan on the boat as they were going back towards the dock where they were gonna towards home, where they were gonna dock at. But because he was unalived on the boat, and you hear the phone call, you hear, "Is he dead?" Or I'm not sure if they're saying, she said, "Is he dead?" or "Is it dead?" referring to the pump. But it would be very strange to say, "Is it dead?" In reference to the bilge pump, because you would not refer to a pump as dead. Is it dead? You would just say, is it working or what? It's not working. Does the pump work? You wouldn't say, is it dead? So I definitely think that when she said, "Is he dead? Is it dead?" she said, "Is he dead?" There was a, "Oh my God, is he dead? Um, damn it, so and so." So to me, it seemed like the lady in the background, was more stressed out than the person on the phone call. So that was kind of weird to me, because if your boat is sinking, you're going to be stressed out. You're going to make a stress call. You're going to, hey, we're sinking. Can you get somebody out here quick? I don't care who it is, the Coast Guard, the tow, sea tow, whoever, get somebody out here, 911 quick. We're drowning. We're sinking. We're about to go under. Can you, that's me. I would be doing that knowing that, I'm in a 31 foot of water and my boat is about to sink with everybody on it. I'm going to be stressed out. And he didn't sound stressed out. He sounded a little bit stressed out when he was saying, "Hey, shut up back there," and all that stuff. But he didn't seem stressed out enough about the boat sinking. To me, that was kind of suspicious. Because if you're on the phone call, you're definitely going to be stressed out and panicking. And I know I would. Even though I can swim and everything, I'm just stressed out about the whole situation, all the people on the boat and everything is sinking. I don't want to be in the water, even though I can swim. I don't want to sink. So I think that was a very suspicious call made to Cito. And I heard the call, they didn't want to get the Coast Guard. And it's like, if you're sinking, why wouldn't you want to get the Coast Guard? That just doesn't make sense. So in conclusion, my theory is that Nolan recorded his friend doing drugs. The friend wanted to get the phone back from Nolan. They had a few altercations, probably light altercations, meaning that he was trying to get his phone from Nolan. Nolan kept trying to, you know, keep the phone away from him. The friend was already on drugs, so he's induced. in a rage. And so as he chased Nolan, there was a argument about the whole phone situation when they got to the boat, and Nolan probably was telling him, I'm not getting on that boat until you give me my phone and all that. So once he got on the boat, they tried to calm him down. As the boat left, they got into a altercation. Um, Somebody was either two people, one or two people. My theory is that he was choked. He fell unconscious, fell and hit his head either on the pump or on the edge of the boat, and they panicked and went back to the place where they docked and placed his body over there, or kept the body on the boat until later on, um, to where they can figure out where they can hide the body. And they decided that they're going to go back to the island and place it in the place that they docked at in the first place. So, because that's the only way, because if they were looking for Nolan's body and they couldn't find it, then he definitely wasn't in the water because his body would have been bloated. So where would his body be other than on the boat with the people that had him? They could have hid the body somewhere when they docked, um, at the place where they first docked and left towards the island. So uh, I feel like they had to make up some type of alibi, and that phone call was the alibi. And so they had Nolan's body and maybe covered it up somewhere, and then they took the body back, placed it somewhere, and probably had called somebody to place the body somewhere until somebody found it. And from what I heard, somebody else said they smelled some decomposing body somewhere in a dark area on the island, in a cool, dark place where the body wouldn't decompose as bad. So that's what I heard. I think somebody could have helped them put the body there until they figured out a way or a story to come up with. And then the 2 days went by, and somebody had to get his body and go back and place it in that area where they can find him easily, because they didn't want authorities to keep looking and find something that would connect them to the unaliving of Nolan Wells. And so that's my theory. And so we won't know what the information on the throat or the lungs are until the pathologist takes everything, all the details and the facts about the autopsy back to the grand jury. So whatever's in the dark comes to light, and that's just been karma of the universe from the beginning of time. Whatever you do in the dark will come to light, and that's just law. The law of the universe says that whatever you put out in the universe definitely going to come back to you. So something nefarious happened to Nolan, and the truth will come to light. So I feel like whatever somebody has done to Nolan Wells will be found. There's too many inconsistencies in the story. There's too many unanswered questions. There's stuff that just doesn't make sense. So if something doesn't make sense, then you have to look at the possibility that something nefarious has happened. Just like Johnny Cochran said, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. If things don't align, then you must conclude that there's something else. If something doesn't line up, you have to conclude there's something shady going on. It has to be. There's no way in the world all these inconsistent stories can come to one conclusion. And the conclusion that they're trying to come up with is that he drowned. I already told you guys that doesn't make sense at all, based on all the facts and all the information that's been given by different numerous witnesses during the time that Nolan was alive and at the parties, and based on what his friends said in the interviews. If you compare all the information from the witnesses to what his friends said, there's a lot of conflicting stories, and that just doesn't make sense. It's not adding up, and so the truth will come to light. So rest in peace to Nolan Wells. We're fighting for you. We're definitely going to find the truth, um, hopefully through the detectives, in the law, and in the courts. We would definitely find the truth about what happened to Nolan Wells. I appreciate you guys coming to my channel, hearing what I had to say about this Nolan Wells case. Everything I said was alleged and subjective, but this is based on the facts that I've seen from the evidence of what people have brought forth, whether it be witnesses, lawyers, etc., news stories, online information from people who said they were at the party or on the island at the time. So my condolences to the family once again. Rest in peace, Nolan Wells. We're going to fight to the end until justice is served. So rest in peace, Nolan Wells, and justice for Nolan Wells. So thanks once again, guys, for coming to my channel. Make sure you get on my email list, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for all things I got coming. I got music coming. I got films coming. A lot of content coming, travel content, documentaries, etc. I got a lot of stuff coming, so make sure you guys lock in with me. And we're going to keep putting out information about Nolan Wells' case until justice is served. So thanks once again for coming to my channel. My name is Tavares Sweet Pea Weems. Stay gold and have a good one. Peace.